You want the honest truth? I've been trying to figure out where all the buildings are. You know, aside from that part, my goal for the next couple of weeks is to get on campus and meet everybody. This is a small campus, and it's important to me that I know who's here, know who's working here, get a feel for their engagement with the institution, get an understanding of the rhythms and flow of the campus with the students coming back next week. It's going to be very important that I'm out. So right now, it's spending a lot of time away from my desk and out on campus, getting an understanding of the campus climate. That's my main focus right now. And then I take care of desk work later. But it's very important, I think, at this point that folks get a chance to talk to me, and that I don't mean for that to sound like it's this great, let's stand in line to talk to the chancellor, but I'm the new guy in town, and I think folks have questions for me. So I have a responsibility, I believe, to get out and allow folks to ask those questions. Dr. Cruzado is very supportive of my role here in terms of working with the campus and community to identify the vision and the future of Northern. Now, as a member of the Montana State University system, we do have certain responsibilities. And so my initial conversation with her was, how does Northern work with the other members, Bozeman, Great Falls, and Billings, to, for example, improve student transferability, to improve efficiencies of resources like computer systems, that type of thing. So the conversations initially have been very broad in terms of developing approaches that could result in cost savings that could then be turned around and put into academic programs. So the initial conversation was one of sort of getting an understanding of her vision for the entire system and ultimately how Northern fits into that. In addition to what we talked about in terms of being out and around campus, we're going to begin a visioning process. I think everybody needs to understand that higher education in Montana, as well as nationally, is changing rapidly. We have a decrease in high school graduates projected through 2018. And if you need to look up the date on that, it's on the WICHE website, Western Interstate Commission on Higher Education. And so in higher education now, in a state that has less than 1 million people, but has 8 public institutions, the key to the future is the niche that we carve out for ourselves. What I want to work with the campus to do is, let's respect the history, but see where we fit into Montana higher education in the future. Because the schools that are going to be successful are the schools that identify what they do best based on a combination of location, faculty resources, facilities, and community support, and then aggressively market that to Montana and to states beyond. So the most important thing for me right now is to begin talking to the campus about, what do you see as the vision of Montana in the next of Northern in the next 5 to 10 years? What kind of academic programs will we be offering? What will our students be like? How will we measure success? What will the campus look like? We have to develop a strategic plan. We have to develop an integrated facilities plan. We have to develop an enrollment management plan that integrates all of this. So, for example, if I'm growing diesel mechanics, for example, at what point does that growth indicate I need to hire more faculty? I need to expand the facilities. If I grow there, how does that affect other programs? If I decide that our enrollments, if I work with a campus and we decide that our maximum enrollment or an optimum enrollment is 2,500 students, what percentage of that enrollment should be online versus on-site? Because if out of 2,500 students, 2,000 of them are going to be on campus and 500 are online, that's a different shift in resources. But if 50% of them are online, that means I have to shift resources into infrastructure and IT support and faculty training and that type of thing. So there's a lot of very important discussions that we have to have here as we position Northern to continue to contribute to a higher education in Montana. What I'm starting to do right now is to go to existing meetings, and then I learned in my years in higher education that before you start making changes, first you have to understand the culture of the community. So I think it's more respectful that I get out and attend existing meetings and that I just show up. I've already started just showing up at businesses and saying hello. And Then, once I understand the ebbs and flows of Havre, then we can shift around. But right now, I don't want to just come and say, hey, I'm the new kid on the block, and we're going to go this direction completely because, hey, I want to. You know, that's not being a good partner, and I feel very strongly about that. So to give you a very short answer now, no, I'm not doing anything special right now until I figure out the lay of the land, if you will. I think everybody needs to understand, I'm a big believer in data-informed decision-making. I need to review existing data about, if you're talking about programs of growth, I can't answer that yet because I need to sit down and analyze enrollment trends in each of the majors in the programs over the last several years. I need to sit down and analyze, okay, if we have an enrollment trend in X program, what is that going to mean in terms of my continuing to shift resources? Because if I shift resources to grow another program, somebody else doesn't get them, and that creates institutional conflict. But the reality is on every campus, certain programs carry the weight and everybody else benefits from it. So I have not sat, I have heard about the drone program, I've heard about all the other things. I have not sat and looked at them yet. Right now I'm more concerned with working with the campus and saying, you all have been here, you have a feel for the history and what you think the Highline region, the state of Montana needs. Let's talk about that first. The first, most pressing issue, though, is enrollment. That's of significant consequence. The enrollment went down a little bit this last fall. I haven't seen the projections for this spring, but usually on average, you drop anywhere from 7 to 9% in the spring just due to attrition. So I know that's going to be a concern, but more importantly is enrollment is the key to our growth, and the semester credit hour is our currency. And what folks have to understand, if we say we have a head count of 1,500, well, that's great. But if half of those students are only 6 credits or less, my budget is still down, so we still can't grow. We're in effect providing services to students, but I'm not making enough money to really provide the type of services that we want. So we have to look strategically at the students that we recruit and the students that we recruit to what program and the presentation that we make to students when they come, because there are 3 top reasons why students will look at a campus a second time: the quality of the website, the feel they get on campus, and whether or not they feel they could be friends with the students that they meet. And those are things that we have to look at here in terms of the type of impression we make. And then if they feel good about that, then we can celebrate the academic programs. So I just feel very strongly it's the conversations that we have to have as a campus community about how we work together. And I have to add that one of the reasons I came to Northern was, without exception, the level of commitment by the staff and faculty here, the level of support from the community was beyond anything I ever saw when I interviewed at other institutions. I felt that if there was any opportunity to be successful, Havre and Northern had all the pieces together. There is such a strong feeling of engagement and belonging here. The community really owns Northern as its own. And that's where the success is going to be. My job is to simply be a catalyst and get everybody moving in the same direction. But that's very important because the decisions we make the next several months are really important to the history of the institution. And I understand that, and I don't take that lightly, but it's something we all have to do together. Strengths: the commitment of the staff, the pride that the staff has in the institution, and the support of the city. I think those are the greatest strengths. The weaknesses are we have some infrastructure issues, and we need to get about our idea of how we are going to recruit. I haven't yet gotten a handle on, I haven't yet been able to fully discuss our recruitment process. And I need to mention that as not a disparaging comment about our admissions people. I just have not yet had a chance to sit and look at it. But our enrollment is down, and so that is an inherent weakness. So I think right now, based on the short amount of time I've been here, those are the initial things that I've seen.